Hi everyone, welcome to my video of the day, which today is all about renting versus owning. Now, you may have heard it in different terminologies, and I guess the modern day term of rent versus own is the rent vesting, which is all through the media in terms of, renting rather than investing and et cetera, et cetera. So that's probably the terminology most people have used. For those that have got parents like mine who have a little bit older, they probably use that old saying that rent money is dead money. Now, I'm going to disprove that myth for you today. I'm going to show you that it doesn't exist and it's not true. And I'm going to use some figures which I'll go through to prove that for you. Now, before we get into it, those that do make it through to the end of the video, I've got a little surprise at the end there, a bit of a giveaway. So hopefully not only do you get a heap out of this short video, but then at the end there, you'll have a little gift from me to say thanks for following it through. So I'm going to start with the rent money is dead money, and I'm just going to give you a concept. So at the moment, people go rent a house, and let's just assume you pay $500 a week to rent that house. So in your mindset, you're thinking, okay, well, $500 a week is just dead money. I'm literally paying $500 a week to pay off somebody else's mortgage. And I understand that terminology or that concept of thinking. But let me put it another way for you. Let's just say when you go buy a house, that your mortgage repayments on that house are, say, $3,000 a month. Now, out of that $3,000 a month, probably only $600 of it is the principal coming back off that loan. And let's say $2,400 a month is the interest on that loan. So in theory, you're actually paying $600 a week to rent the money from the bank to then go purchase your home. So rather than renting a house to live in, you're renting money to go buy a house to live in. So both concepts are still rent, and they're both still pretty much the biggest expenses that we will face in our lifetime, which is either rent or a mortgage. Now, the question I've always had is, okay, which one's better? Am I better renting a house and investing, or am I better getting a mortgage and using the rent, so to speak, for renting money from the bank to have my own home? Now, putting all the social requirements aside, because every one of my clients has a different social requirement and different social need, I'm going to run through for you just the figures so that you can basically see that from a financial point of view, it actually makes sense to rent and invest. Now, I've just flipped up here a lot of numbers, so I'll run through it all and hopefully I don't lose you on the way. So what I've done at the top here, I've got the basic conditions that we're going to use for this. So I've used 6.5% or 6.54 as my loan. I'm saying that we're going to borrow the whole lot, so I'm not actually including a deposit in these figures just to try and keep it simple. And I'm also doing it as an interest-only loan, just so that we don't confuse things with a P&I on an own home and then an interest-only on an investment. I want to keep it interest-only across the board. So we're just talking the cost, because when you're paying off principal, that's not actually a cost. It's you just putting money back into the bank, essentially. So let's have a look at this one above the line here. So this first option through here is essentially the home ownership option. So let's assume that your home's worth $500,000, or you take a loan, let's say, for $500,000. Your interest repayment's 6.54. Therefore, you owe the bank $32,700 for that particular loan. So on a weekly basis, that's $629 a week. Now we haven't, and that's just cost, so that's interest only. Now we haven't included in there rates, insurance, and all those extra things. So to be honest, it actually gets more expensive in your own home because the rates and insurance on your investment are all tax deductible. And you'll notice in the investment option, I also haven't included depreciation, which you don't get on your own home. So if I add that in, but again, it gets quite confusing, it makes the gap between the two even bigger. So let's have a look now at the investment option. So same thing, $500,000 loan, same as your own home. Repayments are exactly the same. The bank doesn't care if it's an investment or your own home, they still want the same amount of money back. So they'll want $32,700 back. But now in this example, because it's an investment, we can rent this $500,000 house out for $400 a week. Now I know that's conservative in rent, but again, I'm trying to make the figures look as worse as I can or as bad as I can to prove my point. So we're getting an income of $20,800 a year. So if we take that off the expense of the loan, that leaves us with $11,900 a year to pay out of our pocket. Now I've also assumed that you're on a fairly low tax bracket, 30 cents in the dollar. So for those income earners that are a bit higher, you'll actually get more of a tax return than this. So let's assume you get $3,500 tax return. So that leaves you with about $8,330 for you to pay out of your pocket for this particular property, which is $160 a week. So in this example, it's $629 a week, and in this example, it's $160 a week. Now, the clear difference is this one you've got a house to live in, and this one you don't. You've got to go rent somewhere. So let's have a look at the difference. So the difference between $629 and $160 is $469 a week. So if I've got $469 a week left over after my investment, I only need $400 a week to rent the home that I'm living in. So that means that I've got $70 basically, or $69 a week left over. So I can actually live in the exact same home that I was going to buy as my own home, rent it for $400 a week, and be $69 a week better off. And that doesn't include tax deductions on your rates and insurance, and it also doesn't include depreciation on the actual investment. So when you throw those into the equation, you can be sitting around the $200 a week difference. So that's about $10,000 a year difference by actually renting a house and investing rather than getting a mortgage over your own head. So I guess that's the main point I wanted to make of it. Now the figures vary a little bit depending on deposit levels and so on. It can actually be a little bit bigger. For those defence members, it actually also makes a massive difference when you include RA into your rental side. You're talking $400 or $500 a week difference. So it almost makes absolute sense for you to rent and invest. So I did promise at the start that I was going to do a little giveaway. So let me flick back to here, a little present for those that have survived. So firstly, hopefully you got some good points out of the renting versus owning type thing, and I've been able to prove it to you in numbers. Now, because everyone's case is different, we do have a what we call a discovery meeting. So if you jump on our website, you can book in a discovery meeting. Now you'll see on the website that that's in there, and it's $249 to book a discovery meeting. Now what we do in that meeting is I will produce a series of documents for you, cash flows and different things. And I'll also do a bit of a health check on you and have a look at where you're at and what you're trying to achieve in terms of plans. So we'll plan out whether you want to look at renting and investing and all those different options. It might be option A, B, and C. We'll plan them out. We'll look at the figures from them, and then you can make a decision or a choice on which way you want to go. So that's basically on the website that you can book. Because you've hung in today and you've listened to this wonderful, wonderful presentation, hopefully you got something out of it in the meantime anyway. What I want to do is I'm going to discount that down for you to $49 for those of you who have hung in. So what you need to know when you go on my website, you'll need to put in a discount code on there so that you can get it down to $49. And grab a pen. The discount code is Phil, G-A-M-E. Very original. So if you stick in my name, Phil Game, into the discount code section, it will discount the price from $240 now down to $49. And I'd certainly love to give you a hand, give you a bit of a health check, and then give a plan, moving forward and how you can, achieve the, the goals and the financial goals that you've set. Thanks so much for your time today, and hopefully I'll catch and talk to you soon. Cheers.